everyone, it's Natalie here. This just arrived. I'm super excited. You'll have seen from the info that oh, I don't need a scissor, it'll tear open. Okay, this is going to be ultimately the Tantric Dakini Oracle. This is, in here, we have the Tantric Dakini Oracle. There we are. And we're going to zoom in here shortly, and I'll change the shot and do all the things. And I also got, because I started to run thin on incense, this one was really reviewed as being exceptional. I might have to take the little tag thing off here. There we go. It says for relaxation, because that's why most of us in Tibetan Buddhism burn it, right? It is the Lama Chudpa, natural Tibetan incense. I hear really good things about this one. I love it when they like seal it this way with the, it's so nice. I want to like open one end of it so that I can smell it. It got written up really positively. And a Chudpa is someone who practices in the Chud tradition for the benefit of others, to try and help heal diseases and famine and so on. Ooh, there's like a purple, I don't know if that's visible. There's like a purple piece of paper in there. And then the incense, I might have to light some. Oh, look at that. That's a nice, gotta sniff it. Ooh, okay. Like the reviews were like, oh my God, it's the best smelling stuff ever. Maybe it smells better when it's lit. Most of them do. Tibetan incense is always really, really earthy. So I'm gonna light a stick of that and get this guy out of the plastic. It's been a while since I first saw this a couple years ago and thought, ooh, I really want to get this deck. I've been kind of yearning and longing for more decks that really scratch the itch that the Buddha Tarot does. And interestingly, as I was kind of contemplating that idea, a video actually by Anna at Astral Lady Tarot popped up where she was talking about her experience with this deck. So I went and looked online about what people were saying and just thought, you know, this probably is the moment to go ahead and do this. So I'm curious about this because in so many ways, I thought it was going to be like tarot structure, but it says here 65 full color cards. So I guess we're going to find out. It's out of it's Destiny Books out of Rochester, Vermont. So let's just see what we get. It does have the slide out feature here. Oh yeah, and I figured that is probably going to be the way it is. Where they split them between the two sides, but there's no bands. That's nice. Oh no, there are. No, it's plastic. It's just wrapped in plastic. This is one hell of a book, isn't it? Look at that. Now I have read from a couple of different places that these folks, well, they're very critical. Ooh, look at that. They have a postcard in there. Okay. Sorry, so distractible today. These folks really don't seem to know what they're doing when it comes to, you know, doing this oracle. Like, right, they don't seem to know what they're doing with regards to dakinis and so on and so forth. It was created in the 70s, and they seem to be like mixing Hindu tradition as well as Buddhist tradition in Tantra. Tantra is, by the way, not necessarily just about sex, even though the authors have written about it, right? Sexual secrets. There are a lot of secret practices. And a secret practice is usually a practice that includes the body in some way, sometimes through sex or the depiction of it, where it's engaged in mentally. And other times it is literally engaged in as part of a particular practice. So for example, in Chud, that is also the case. But so I'm curious just to see, you know, just to read it and see where they're maybe right or wrong. What I find intriguing, what I find perhaps most intriguing, is the way in which a lot of people online were saying, you know, this deck gives some of the most startling readings they've ever had. So even where they don't know anything about either tradition, the Dakini principle seems to just dominate. And it may have been really, probably was, frankly. I mean, wisdom dakinis are happy to work with people who are ready for them. I think it's a teeth one. There we go. Cellophane with the teeth and spitting it across the desk. That's when you know you're for serious. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Very 70s-tastic deck here, folks. Very 70s-tastic. So here's the first chunk of the stack. These are the backs. So we're also border-tastic. I have no interest in cutting those off or doing any, like, it just has, I have no interest in that. Maybe, I don't know, we'll see. And then let me get this guy. So I'm curious if in its earlier iteration, maybe some of you who have it would know. Yeah, there's only 65 cards. Beautifully produced, right? There, you can still find the split in the cards. It's just because of the shape of the plastic, right? That's not going to be a thing. Because of the cardstock. Because the cardstock on these is like what we would expect, you know, from 70s cards. You know, even though this is a very recent printing. This is a, when were these printed? Pretty, 1979 and 2003. Really? Is this as late as 2003? Okay, so this is about the same age and era as the Llewellyn Buddha Tarot. Okay, so we have a Joker who's replacing the Fool. And inside of it we have one of these complex knots. And Mercury, who is clearly meant to be the Magician. We have the High Priestess or Isis, which is a curious choice given that it's a Dakini oracle, although for all we know, Isis could be a Dakini. You know, one name in one culture, another name in another culture, and, you know, Scarlet Woman there. So maybe the, so it's giving us, it's definitely giving us the darker vibe for a Dakini oracle. You know, Dakinis are going to do that. They are, they're there to help us with our shadow, definitely, and to find the wisdom of the shadow and find the way to embrace rather than shun the shadow, right? Hot seat. Wow. And an emperor's throne is the hot seat. Yeah, because when you're in a position of authority, you are on the hot seat all the time. It's the darker side of authority is accountability. Okay, Ganesh, the Lord of Obstacles, is the Hierophant. Curious. Wish-fulfilling gem. How beautiful. And it's Samantabhadra. That is said to be what the Dharma is, right? So, and also the Yabyum, which we have pictured here, is also part of that. Yeah, so for the lovers, it's finding the wisdom in internal union or outer union. I don't know, but I think it's very, there's a lot of depth there. 7 is the cremation ground meditation. Yeah, so Dakinis and like the human form of Dakinis, because Dakinis can essentially be full of light and literally from the realm of the Sambhogakaya, which is the realm of light. They may also be, you know, from, they may be human, they may be women. And human women that are kind of fearsome and courageous and do crazy and wise things, and things that are unconventional, you know, also are referred to frequently as Dakinis. It's not always a compliment, but it kind of also is at the same time. Because sometimes Dakinis are old hags, sometimes they're beautiful, seductive young women, so you get sort of the Western version of like the triple moon aspect in there, which I think is fascinating. But also, you know, what you're attempting to do with this notion of the cremation ground, which is talked about a lot in Tibetan Buddhism, especially Nyingma Tibetan Buddhism, is the idea of the cremation ground and of practicing, literally going to practice in a cremation ground or a charnel ground, where you will find human remains, etc., ad nauseum, because, and be creeped out and confronted with your own death, because it isn't until we recognize that we're going to die, that one day this, this humanly body is going to die. It's not going to last. Then we can really begin to live deeply. And we can live from a place of wholeness and from a place of greater realization, both inner and outer. And that's interesting as the Chariot, that's where you get to at that point. Because the truth of the matter is, I would say, well, the truth. Ha ha ha. What is the truth anyway, right? I would say I tend to interpret, this has been my question all the way through, I tend to interpret or wonder if in the tarot that moment of having a realization of emptiness, like an experiential realization of emptiness, is what happens around the time of Hanged Man and death, right? Where we start to have death of the ego. I don't know, but let's see. We'll find out here. We have Living Goddess for 8. I think that's supposed to be strength. We'll see. Way Through is 9. And the key, of course, could take us back to the Hierophant, but, if we look at these first 21 as being our first 20, including the 0 for the Joker, we're looking at something different. This is the way through to the universe, is through that solitude, that time alone. So the key to unlocking the universe is that solitude. And then we have the Wheel of Great Time. Interesting. That'll be interesting to read about. So it's the Wheel of Dharma. Self-created. 11. Yeah, okay. All right, yeah. I mean, maybe, sure, yeah. I mean, okay, yes, all right. So this would be the mud in the lotus, right? That's probably that is strength. I'm gonna guess that one is actually strength, and that the goddess we saw earlier is justice. Because I saw that one, I thought, well, we could go either way, right? Living Goddess then becomes justice, I think, and then self-created is gonna be strength, I think. Because what you're doing is you're taking the mud and the muck and the disgusting things of your own life, including all of your own pain and suffering, and you're turning that into the lotus. And then we are slaying the ego, which is interesting because we started the slay the ego part back. We started that at the cremation ground, yeah. Depending on their interpretation. When you slay the ego, that will flip you upside down. That will make you see the world from a very different perspective. When trauma or Kali comes and literally cuts, I mean, that's what happens in the Chud practice. If you're practicing Chud, at some point, you're going to offer your body, and you're either offering your body by turning it into light and light energy, right? Which is one practice, or you're offering it by transforming yourself into, or leaving your body because you're transforming into trauma, or trauma nangmo. And then you are going to cut your own body up into a corpse and offer it out of compassion, right? It's a very dark shadow practice, and it's wonderful. It's very transformative. But here we're just going to start by removing the head, which is the way we cut through the ego. Then we see that the death of the ego finally, which is interesting because that is, okay, I'm seeing where they're coming from here and how to look at this. So from the perspective of Buddhism, the realization of emptiness and your own death is not necessarily going to be the death of your ego, but it's definitely the start of it. So that within this context, that makes sense. And theoretically, that's the death of an ego, or the death of an ego part. Let's say it's the death of an ego part, because I actually know another card that's coming up next later on, and I can I'm just putting this together as I'm talking about it. I know how to contextualize that, so we'll get there. Hopefully this isn't going to be a complete like, bah. Then the puja, or the purification, so ritual, you know, specific type of ritual. And then the ally emerges, yeah. So in feeding your demons, which is a practice that Lama Tsultrim Alione of Taramandala came up with. She's a Westerner. I think she was the first Western woman, or the first American woman, to go and study as a Lama in Tibet and to receive that training. She's a fascinating human being. She's been recognized in recent years as being the emanation of Machig Labdron. And Machig's teachings were the chud, and part of what you do with the chud is you feed demons, most of which are just really aspects of ourselves, right? They're just who we are. They're the shadow, the dark part of who we are. And what we have to do is find a way to be utterly compassionate with them. And instead of cutting them off or burning them up, which is not what you're doing in that practice. What you're doing is you're cutting through your own egoic attachment to being good, right? Or of only being a certain way, in order to recognize and pay attention to and have complete non-dual compassion for the parts of yourself that are gross and ugly, or that we feel ashamed of. Because those parts need love too. Okay, inner demons need love too. Hashtag inner demons need love too. Right. It's a wonderful practice. It really is. And it's very peaceful and very beautiful. And it is a profound way of making friends with oneself. How about that? Okay, so, yeah, so we recognize it. It undergoes a transformation. We feed it something, we cleanse it, we purify it, and then it emerges. That demon, that devil, 15, devil, emerges as an ally. And usually there's a transformation. So the devil, you know, by itself, if we were to have it by itself, I see the message of feeding your demon in order to transform it into an ally. So instead of someone, and it doesn't have to be a big, ugly, cruel, mean-looking ally. I mean, sometimes when I've done this, I had one ally turn into a pigeon, or one demon turned into a pigeon. And I love pigeons. And I'm always collecting their feathers because I recognize that as something from my ally, right? That particular ally wants me to have a pigeon feather. Yeah, so, you know, this is that process. This is that process. Then, ooh, we have a Holocaust. So, yeah, okay. So, yeah, when you embark on this path, what an unfortunate choice of keywords. But yeah, when you go across that, you're going to run into any number of demons of yourself, and the process of transforming them is going to feel like the tower. It's going to feel like the tower. Island of Jewels, yeah. So there's the inner self when you have all of these beautiful, it's the star, right? All of these beautiful allies. The jewels remind me of Indra's jeweled net, the idea that all of these multifaceted jewels at every intersection means that we're all reflecting back to one another the beauty of our inner being. So it's like a never-ending reflection of one another and of our wholeness and beauty. It's non-duality and emptiness, another way of seeing it. Soma. With a mushroom. Yeah, okay. Yeah, having your whole vision of the world and of everything has been completely transformed. It does feel a little bit like a DMT experience. No joke. Wow. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't using a Tibetan practice at the time that I went through all of that. I was working with psychotherapy and Zen. But when I read, I mean, I've done some of the demon work, transforming your demons and feeding your demons. And I've done a lot of the chud work. And it feels very similar. Yeah, it is very psychedelic. And it does feel like it probably triggers some DMT in the brain. But, you know, I've seen the moon card have have this before. The body is where we hold shadows. From moon card reference here. You know, the soma is the body. Somatic means of the body. So if this is the body and it's the moon card at 18, we're also looking there at, yeah, experiencing what's in the body. And doing so means really, you know, it's like when you do yoga and you burst out into tears for no reason in some poses, and it just takes you by complete surprise. There is something, like, we know trauma is in the body. We know our shadows live literally, physically in the body. Okay. The sun as the phoenix rising from the ashes. Look at that. Wow. So it's what's left. It's the light that's left after you've burned away the shadow. And we have more, it looks like Akshobhya and Mamaki. Transformation as judgment. Okay. That seems redundant somehow. Curious about how they're gonna work with that. And then we have Earthbound as the world, but I don't know quite where we're going with that one. Maybe being on the earth and of the earth, but being able to see it from a different angle simultaneously. Ooh, 22 is Mother's Milk. Okay, that would probably be a Cups card, I'm guessing, because we got boobies. Lots of boobies and milk. It's cosmic. It's lots of cosmic there. We've even used, like, I don't know how clear that's going to be, but if you look at the background, sorry, I'm going to put my beads down here. There is this, they're giving curvature to the space that's being held there. So it is cup-like. Interesting. And then we have Maya, how she spins. Oh, wow. The Weaver as Maya. Oh, wow. Okay. In Vedic cosmology, the term Maya is often the word used for illusion. It means, or translated as illusion. And we have the earth spinning. We have a woman spinning who could be called Maya. It's got a very good trickster vibe to it. Solar return. Yeah, we're definitely out into a different area here. Whoa. Wow, what an image. And this is from the 70s, when not all of Afghanistan and Afghani women wore burqas. Fascinating. Yeah, we're out of my realm here in terms of what suits these might belong to. Mean and heavy. Oh, I see. There are boots. There's boots. So a lot of, and then they got skulls like Chittipati skulls under here and up here. It looks like Kali again. A lot of Dakinis, Harukas, anything wrathful. They're pictured stomping on corpses or stepping on skulls, sitting on skulls, all sorts of things, because again, the skulls represent ego. They represent the fact that we're going to die, that sort of thing. Magic carpet. Wow. And there's all these dakinis on that magic carpet, which also looks like a mandala. Cosmic carrot. That's kind of funny. I don't know what that means, but that's kind of cool. Self-preservation. Interesting, yeah. Which is obviously not a helpful, it's not going to be a helpful way of viewing the world from the point of perspective of a Dakini, for what? Why would we preserve ourselves? Castle in the clouds. Or castles in the clouds. Curious. Just passing through. So impermanence. So we have Shiva, the pillar of fire. Wow, that looks to me like an ace of wands. Eternal life. Interesting. Ooh, the burning bush or the lineage tree. Wow. So much depth in there. Oh my God. Wow. We've got the rainbow light coming down and into, yeah, wow. As above, so below. Nice. There we are with the lotus. Oh, that's, wow. So much depth in there. So much depth in there. So we may think that what's above is enlightened and beautiful and perfect, right? Let's see. Let's cut it off. And there's the lotus, right? So we think that what must be below is full of muck and disgust and dirt and filth. And in a non-dual view, that is not the case. The case is that all of them are there. You can't have one without the other. And this is really hermetic as well. You don't have, as one thing arises, its opposite arises simultaneously. Yeah. Amazing. All right. Guardian. Yeah. All right. I can dig it. Looks like a Mahakala down there. Or a protector of some kind. Maybe George Limpa. Fire of sacrifice. Yep. Beautiful. Amusement. Something to do with sex, I guess. Clearly something to do with sex. I don't know. Serpent power. Yeah, there's the cobra. Yeah, very kundalini. Blow your mind with a nuclear blast. High tension. Yeah, wow, that's definitely, looks like an early photo of Jack LaLanne or something. High tension, I love it. Wave of bliss. That's great. It's so interesting the way they've done that. I mean, it's a very simple deck. And it's just not super complicated, right? It's, but it's really marvelous. It's marvelous. Wow. Mount Meru, the center of the universe. Yeah. Heart drop. So we've got stupas, and we've got Himalayan landscape, and then water. A lot of stuff in there. Like a bubble. Oh, that's almost a quote. It could be almost a quote from the Diamond Sutra. To treat thoughts like bubbles that just kind of arise and drift and burst, because that's literally all they are. They have no more essence to them than that in the scheme of things. And we have abundance. Interesting. Horseplay. Horses are really, that's a Pegasus. So horses are really important in Tibet and in Tibetan cosmology. The flags that we put up, that most people buy and put up in places, a lot of the ones I have here, although not the ones that you see immediately like behind me when I'm in shot and you see the back of my room, although I do have a set of them hanging, they're wind horse flags. So you're raising lung or raising wind horse. They represent a very important essence. White Lady, Mother of Pearl. Interesting, like a White Dakini or Yeshe Tsogyal, or I don't know, Machik. Cutting through. Yeah, very Dakini. Oh, I think are those Kartikas? They are. Oh my gosh. These are Kartikas up here as held with a hand. Oh my gosh. Okay. Like that. I don't know if that's, yeah, it's like this. So we're getting the top down version of it and the top up version of it. Interesting. And that's what's used to cut cords, which are here, cut the cords that bind us to the ego and prevent us from recognizing, oh my gosh, they've used the ocean analogy here. They keep us from understanding that we're not a separate wave, we are the entire ocean. How about that? You like that? All right, then we have recall or memory. I'm curious about that. I don't know what they're doing there. Oh, look. I wonder if it's the Wikiwachi mermaids. I wonder if that's where the image came from. So it's the deep end. I don't know what they mean by that. Diving deep. The rose garden. I like that. Oh, tree spirit Yakshi. Oh, I love that. That's probably a juniper tree. I wonder if that's the same type of like juniper tree that's used in purification rituals. Oh, I love that. Asylum. Another wind horse. That horse is in a tree. Wow, that's so curious. It's got to, but the horse is on the earth, but it's, yeah, that's curious. Wow. Totally bananas. I wonder if that's a reference to crazy wisdom. Yeah, just really curious. I'm so excited to read this book. Okay, then we have the elixir fruit essence. Nice. Oh, I just realized that is lips. That is lips and a tongue. Okay. Temptation. Curious. Chameleon. Pearls before swine. What I'm curious about is whether this might make a reference to Vajra Varahi, because she has in her crown or on her head, she has a swine, she has a pig. It's not an unknown thing. We have it here too. So Troma also has a swine or a pig in her hair. They wear them in their head like a crown. And the pig is grunting or oinking the Dharma up to the high heavens and up into the higher realms. So I don't know, but it, it is not a representative of something disgusting or gross the way we see it in Western, represented in a Western sense. A pig in a Tibetan sense is really would be worthy of the pearls, right? It would be a pearl offering would be beautiful. Interesting about this pig is look how satisfied it is. It's not eating the pearls. It seems delighted by them. So I'm curious about what they'll say in the book. Taking up arms. So that reminds me right away of like Avalokiteshvara or Guanyin, who is often seen riding on a turtle. And the reason that these deities have extra sets of arms is so that their compassion is able to expand. Like you'll see them with extra heads, extra arms, extra eyes. What else? This is in order to have enough eyes to witness all of the pain and suffering in the world, enough arms to be able to help and reach out and embrace all of the suffering of the world, etc. So I wonder if that's where that goes. Survival. And a big slag heap. Oh my, dangerous pussy. The past. I have no idea. We have 2 lions and we have curly hair. And I remember Anna saying that that was actually, it says in the book somewhere in theory that that's actual curly hair. Like from a human. Okay, we have centering the present. So yeah, we can actually represent the depth of the mandala, which is the entire universe when we're present. Yeah. And then the last laugh on the future. Okay. I'm game with that. I'm game with that. There's a scythe in this one. All right, let's give him a shuffle. So the Joker is clearly telling us that we can expect that this will be a trickster deck. So it wants to divide into this 2, that it came as. Let's see, these should be pretty easy to, yeah. They'll be happy to shuffle. Third. And then we'll just do some overhands here. I mean, it shuffles beautifully, and of course everybody here will know and probably has heard a number of times how much I actually really like this cardstock. This one wanted to jump, so we'll take it. It says White Lady, Mother of Pearl. So I'm gonna see what that means in the book. Let's see, 48. White Lady Mother of Pearl bears the number 48, signifying the projected self in a position of power. Ooh, the book smells good. I never smelled the cards. Not so much of a smell in those cards. Okay. According to the classification by elements, this is a water card, normally related to the suit of cups in the minor arcana of the traditional tarot. A white woman releases from her hand a trail of pearls which fall away down a tunnel of ice. Her belly is the inside section of a blue shell, whose spiral structure indicates that she is a queen of all spirals of existence, and that from her womb much karma is born. She herself is beyond life and death, cold, untouchable, to be glimpsed only by those who receive her pearls, which are both wisdom and the lure, which tempts mankind back into the cycles of death and rebirth. Her path is not of the heart, but of the desire for rational knowledge. She offers shimmering gifts to attract beings to her domain of detachment, occultism, and magical acts, but once the bait is accepted, her power becomes an addiction, as a muse to the poet. The White Lady uses vital energy of her devoted followers to augment her own power, taking their fate into her own domain. Ooh, wow. I almost feel like we're being told about our addiction to new decks, said the woman opening a new deck. Said the white woman opening a new deck. Let's see. Divinatory meaning. The person receiving this card is not a master of his or her own destiny. Such is the price paid in order to gain certain powers. The card indicates mystical inclinations and occult faculties. This is coupled with a weakness of character, an addiction to power-giving intoxicants such as drugs, alcohol, money, and so forth, at the cost of the exalted human qualities, Meditate on the need to unite both head and heart to achieve liberation. Understand her as a glyph of the analytical mind. So if we were using, I think there are chakra spreads throughout this book, or different ones that reference the chakras, which would be a very interesting way to read this. So it would, if that card appeared in those different, yeah, and then here right away, here would be a way of using that, right? And then there would be, I mean, there are plenty of others. It looks like there's a lot of chakra reference in here. A lot. Fascinating. So I wonder, let's try a different one. Let's try another shuffle, but we appreciate the message. What message do we have for viewers of this video? And let's include the maker of this video. So what do you, woo, it wants to talk. It's a jumper deck. Most trickster decks are. These want to like do cartwheels, and this is amazing. All right, so we would just like one card, please. Okay, there, well, I guess we're totally bananas. Look at that. All right. So let's see what it has to say about the Totally Bananas card. What do you want to tell us about being totally bananas? What number is that? 55. Of course it came out with that one. So Totally Bananas bears the number 55, signifying the path of psychic release. Look at that. According to the classification by elements, this is an earth card, normally related to the suit of pentacles in the minor arcana of the traditional tarot. Interesting. In the center of a forest clearing stands a tree whose trunk is comprised of a large banana with the skin peeled back to reveal the fruit inside. On the tip of the banana, representing the revealed libido, the sexual energy, two figures are standing together on their heads. I totally missed that. Totally missed that. I'm not sure I'm seeing it now. Here? I don't know. I'm not. Oh! There. Those are people. Holy cow! I did not see that as people. Those are not flames. Those are people, and that's their arms. Fascinating. Fascinating. Okay, so those are people. They're standing on their heads as if they were the fruit of the tree. These figures represent a Boschian world of, well, I'm all about Hieronymus Bosch, a Boschian world of fantasy. For by reversing the life energies within the body, a new alternative dimension opens up. That is really true. Wow. I knew there was a reason I missed doing handstands and headstands. Bosch has a very, that's why I love this deck. And it's that close to hand because I just love it. It has a very Dakini kind of feel to it. Wow. Okay, it also represents a return to primitive ideals. The large banana appearing here like a totem of the ritual being enacted by the two figures. Wow. Okay. Divinatory meaning. The release of latent energies, but without the conscious knowledge of how to direct them. Turning the world of appearances on its head. An unconscious fantasy, the joke of existence in the realization of the ridiculous in all things. When located at the base region in the Tree of Life chart, it represents the sexual energy moving in a downward direction, the Kundalini or serpent energy reversed, suggesting that the questioner has in the past been using power to exalt the ego. This is it. So we get all the different representations depending on where it arises divinatorially in that particular Tree of Life chart. So we could stay with the release of latent energies, but without the conscious knowledge of how to direct them. Turning the world of appearances on its head, an unconscious fantasy, the joke of existence in the realization of the ridiculous in all things. Fascinating. Well, what does it mean for you? Does it have a particular meaning for you by any chance? I'm very curious, and I'm so curious to go through all of these. Oh, they have, look at this. Sorry, I just had to do this, but there is a chart in the book that does all of the numbering of the Tantric Dakini cards, major arcana, so that we can see like how each card goes with the majors and the minors, which is fascinating. All right. Well, I will no doubt come back with more on this deck if that's of any interest to anyone. And now I understand this particular image, because what we're doing here, oops, go the other way, Nat. There we are. What we're doing here is, that is the Tree of Life chakra spread in this deck, which is kind of cool. All right, friends, if this is of any interest to you, and I hope it is, at least to some of you, then I thank you for watching. And, you know, I hope it's not a case of putting pearls before swine. Ha ha. Totally bananas. All right. See you in the next one. Bye.